brought to you by Slim Chickens. And now, here's your host, Chloe Sparks.
Welcome to the last episode of the semester of Sooner Sports Pad. I'm your host, Chloe Sparks, and we've got a new face as an analyst. But first of all, we have Sydney Bollier, and then a new regular starting next semester will be Dylan Rivera. You're going to love his takes, I can already tell. Clear skies and full hearts on Saturday afternoon for the spring football game. It was a beautiful day here in Norman for some spring football to watch some new Sooners and see a few of the holdovers. In the beginning, it was the defense that dominated. They spotted the white team 3 scores before we began to see the offense open it up and make this game competitive. First string QB Spencer Rattler found true freshman wide receiver Mario Williams, and you're going to want to remember that name, for a 50-yard gain. And maybe the star of the day was the highly touted Caleb Williams slinging it around the yard. Not only does he have an explosive arm, but his poise proves that Oklahoma is in great hands at the quarterback position. When are they not? How about 10 for 11 from the pocket for 99 yards and rushing for 61 more? And on special teams, Mr. Reliable, Gabe Burkage booted 2 field goals for 44 and 24 yards. In the end, it was the offense that would prevail after 2 15-minute halves, 30-29. Overall, this team appears to be well-balanced, deep, and explosive. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. And that is just the beginning. Should be another fun season watching the Sooner football team. Which group impressed you guys most after the spring game?
You know what, you mentioned it at first, and it's hard for the D-line to get credit at a spring game, especially with the format that OU used to run it. But let me tell you, this D-line really showed out. In the first 6 drives of the game, they were stopped with first a 4th down stop, then a punt, a field goal, a lost fumble, and then another punt. And the OU run game had a lot of trouble making plays against this D-line. It was obvious, as Coach Lincoln Riley said right after, the defense has a lot more depth and length than they've had in years. It was very obvious that this defense has improved since last season, and that is big going into this next season.
Well, Sydney, everyone should know the dangers of OU's passing game. Through the air, Lincoln Riley's offenses are a machine, and that's due in large part to their receiving core. You think about OU's receivers this year, you think of Jaden Hazelwood, you think of Marvin Mims, you think of Drake Stoops, the big names from last year. But the leading receivers on Saturday were some more fresh faces. Mario Williams is expected to be a big name for the Sooners this season, and in his first chance to show the fans what he can do, he went for 5 catches and 84 yards. Jaden Knowles out of the backfield had a good game through the air. Walk-on tight end Jackson Sumlin caught a TD with 33 yards to his name as well. All this to say, no matter whether it's Rattler, Williams, Micah Bowens, or Ben Harris, the quarterbacks have a lot of talented pass catchers, so it's going to be an easy day for any one of those quarterbacks to sling the ball around the field.
It's our time to pick out our last Sooner standout. And this week, I'm going to have to go with the guy who had the most impressive play from the spring game, Jaden Hazelwood. You know what I'm talking about. Late in the first half, Williams threw this pass toward Hazelwood near the sideline, and with one hand, he reaches out around cornerback Joshua Eaton, securing the ball as he stumbles into the turf. The wide receiver missed most of the 2020 season out with a knee injury, but he showed in this play that, you know what, you don't need all limbs to play football. You just need one hand, right? Can you guys top that Sooner standout?
I love that, and I know we've been waiting to see the freshman phenom QB Caleb Williams ever since he committed to OU. We finally got to see him, and you know what? I think he lived up to that hype. And I think he's going to give Spencer Rattler a run for his money. The first play of the game, he carried the ball for an 18-yard gain, and then the 5-star recruit completed 10 of 11 passes for 99 yards. Again, we got a sneak peek of that ground game with 69 yards in the running game, and he stole the show with the completion to H-back Jackson Sumlin for the TD. You know, I know we feel confident in Spencer Rattler, but you know what? If Caleb Williams gets his chance to start, I think he's really going to show out for the Sooners.
Yeah.
Now, for my answer, I'm going straight to the front lines. I'm looking at the trenches. And what I saw on Saturday was number 73, Andrew Rame, getting to run with the ones. Now, let me tell you why this is so intriguing to me. I went to high school with Andrew Rame, Broken Arrow High School, about 2 hours away. And he played tackle at BA, okay? He comes to OU and gets some playing time in his freshman season at left guard, okay? So last season he was at left guard. And Saturday with a need at center, Rame was snapping the ball. So what that tells you is that big boy is versatile. That's the key word today, is versatile. He opened up the lane for Eric Gray's big run, and he had some key blocks in the Cotton Bowl just a few months ago. Obviously, with Creed Humphrey going to the draft, there's going to be that question of who's going to take over at center. I think it's going to be Andrew Rame, but there's also some conversation about whether it could be Mr. Murray as well.
In face-off, that little flex might have worked out a little bit more in your favor, but we'll take it. Stay tuned, because whenever we return, Kimber Ball is going to be interviewing Olivia Trautman, the gymnast, the junior, the star of the NCAA championship.
It is presented by Slim Chickens. Slim Chickens tenders are always fresh, cooked to order, and made from 100% all-natural premium chicken. Buttermilk marinated, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection every time. Use the Slim Chickens app and order for curbside pickup, delivery, dine-in, or drive-through. Fresh, delicious chicken. Slim Chickens. Get Sooner Sports news and talk on demand whenever you want with the Sooner Sports Podcast. Exclusive interviews, post-game shows, and all things Sooner Sports. Subscribe today at Soonersports.com/podcast. The Sooner Sports Podcast is presented by Riverwind and Allstate. Thank you to our Cornerstone television partners, OU Health, Anheuser-Busch, and the OU College of Professional and Continuing Studies, and our community partners, Landers Auto Group, Coca-Cola, and OU Health.
Olivia Trotman is a junior gymnast for the Sooners who recently earned 5 All-America honors at the 2021 NCAA Championship. Kimber Ball got the opportunity to chat with her a little bit right before the show about her greatness as a Sooner athlete, so let's check it out.
Thank you, guys. And tonight we are joined by OU women's gymnast Olivia Trautman. Olivia, how are you tonight?
I'm good.
Good, glad to hear it. So you guys obviously just are coming off the national championship. It's a big experience. What was that experience like for you competing at the national championship?
I mean, I was making it to the national championship is super amazing feeling. Just all of our hard work finally paying off, and just getting to make it to the first day is an incredible feeling. And then just hitting our sets good on the first day and then going to the second day is just an honor, and just to represent the University of Oklahoma is a dream come true.
Well, representing the University of Oklahoma in women's gymnastics definitely comes with a lot of expectation. There's a lot of pressure on the OU women's gymnastics program every year. Do you feel any extra pressure being on a team that is always expected to be so good?
I wouldn't really necessarily say I feel like extra pressure. During like the summer and preseason, our coaches hold us to a pretty high standard, and just kind of what we're trained to do. Like when we got recruited, we knew like how good Oklahoma was. So just kind of knowing that mindset coming in, just like giving it your best every time you go is obviously the end goal. So just getting to that opportunity to compete for Oklahoma and just like making it to the national championship and then contending for that title is just an amazing feeling. So I wouldn't say there's extra pressure. It's just kind of like what we're known to do.
Well, you've had a really successful career so far at OU, but it hasn't all been smooth sailing. You've, of course, had 2 heel injuries back-to-back relatively recently. What was the recovery process like for you to come back from those heel injuries and get back to competing at such a high level?
So the first heel injury, I didn't need surgery, so it was quicker. I didn't really lose that much atrophy in my whole leg, so that was more like smooth sailing. And then obviously COVID hit, that gave us a bunch of different obstacles. But so the second time I did end up needing surgery, so that was a lot different. It kind of slowed down the process. I was on crutches and in a boot for a long time, so I was really having atrophy in that leg. So just took the time to get the proper recovery, doing a lot of rehab with my trainers, trusting the coaches and the support system here that they would have their best interest at heart. And then as time gone on, I started feeling more confident. The doctors were clearing me. And then I slowly started adding events as the season went on. And then towards the end, I added in all 4 events, and that was just an incredible feeling that all my hard work had finally paid off.
Well, we're excited to watch that hard work pay off for you even more next year for your senior season, but that's all the time we have for this interview tonight. Thank you so much to Olivia Trautman for joining us. Back to you in the studio.
OU men's golf is currently competing in the Big 12 Championship today through Wednesday. OU is in first place, but Quaid Cummins, one of the OU golfers, is taking the lead at second place. Now, Sooner Sports Pad covered a story featuring Quaid Cummins. So, with his 3rd appearance at the Big 12 Championship, let's hear it.
Every drive, every putt, every swing in golf impacts making a name for yourself. For Quaid Cummins, hard work and dedication have led to what every athlete dreams of: success and the chance to take things to the next level.
He has been playing golf since he could walk. I remember he used to have the plastic set of clubs. Those were his first clubs. And then we have pictures of him, on the golf green at 3 years old. And then he wins his first, junior PGA tournament whenever he's barely a teenager. And now here he is going on to try to win a 2nd national championship.
Born and raised in Weatherford, Oklahoma, Cummins grew up on the golf course. And with years of patience and practice, he finds himself just weeks away from turning pro.
I'm going to turn pro, but I don't know what level I'll be at when I turn pro right now. There's still a lot that can go on finishing out the school year. It kind of all deals with your rankings and stuff like that.
The success Cummins has found comes from more than perfecting his golf game. It comes from motivation from his supporters.
I just think that it kind of goes back to Coach Hibble. He kind of, recruits those hardworking guys that, they come in and nobody really knows who they are, but by the time they leave, they've gotten so much better and, they're ready to take golf on at the next level.
A 6th-year senior, his work ethic has driven him to be a leader for OU, but it hasn't come easy.
I couldn't even tell you how much that boy plays golf. Like, he literally every day wakes up, plays until dark, practices, and it's like that every single day, repeat. And I think the biggest thing that he's come to realize is that in order for him to be successful, that's what it takes. And I think that Quaid has the most dedication. He's the most self-driven guy I've ever seen, and I don't think he would do anything else besides play golf every day.
And that's exactly what he will continue to do. Play golf every day, but this time on the tour.
Everybody's better when they leave OU, and I think that's all credit to the coaching staff and Coach Hibble.
Sooner born and Sooner bred, small town Oklahoma to an all-time Sooner, Quaid Cummins has made a name for himself. Elise Jones, Sooner Sports Pad.
Stay right where you are, because whenever we return, we're talking how far is football going to go. So stick with us. Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad, everyone. I know you're sticking around because Sydney is about to face off with Dylan for his first ever face-off. First question comes right after the spring football game. We got a little taste of what's to come with OU football. So how far do you think that they could possibly go next season?
You know what, I think this is one of the strongest recruiting classes we've seen. I think this team's going to go far, so far that later in the year they're going to be contending for the national championship. You know, I absolutely think this team has been building the past few seasons, and this is going to be the year. We don't even have only one Heisman hopeful on our team with Spencer Rattler, but two with Caleb Williams. Dylan touched on it earlier. The offense is going to be absolutely unstoppable with the receiving core. Kennedy Brooks is going to be back in the running game. I touched on it before. I think Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler are going to be pushing each other all season at the QB spot. And as I said earlier, the defense is looking stronger than they ever have. I know that the coaches are absolutely expecting some hardware this year, and I think they're going to get it.
I have belief in next year's OU squad, maybe just not as much as you, okay? And you can call me a pessimist if you want, but I still see them going 11-1 and making the college football playoff. So Here's the thing. I just think that Oklahoma is going to pull one of those Oklahoma things that they do, where they drop one game to a smaller Big 12 opponent that they shouldn't lose to. Be it Iowa State, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, or the team that's gotten the better of them 2 years in a row, Kansas State. All I'm saying is don't be surprised if that happens, but the expectations are still high, and I still think the college football playoff is very doable. It's very tough to go undefeated in a full season, so I don't blame them if they drop one game. But at the same time, in the college football playoff picture, I think they could fall out in that first round. I think 2017 Rose Bowl, 2018 Orange Bowl, 2019 Peach Bowl. There's a little bit of a trend there. But you know what? I think they still make the playoffs. I think it's still a great season. I think we end up looking back on this season and saying that was a great year for OU.
West Virginia, Dylan? Come on.
Just
West
a
Virginia.
Big 12 opponent.
The Mountaineers?
I mean, it was Iowa State and Kansas State this past year.
Dylan, you do know that this is a competition with all OU students that are going to be voting on who wins,
They've got
right?
my back. They've got my
He's
back.
new at this.
I'm not worried about it.
Give me your top 3 for the NFL draft.
Well, I think the first 2 are pretty set. I think Trevor Lawrence, touchdown Jesus from Clemson, is definitely going to be spending his sunny Saturdays out there on the East Coast at Jacksonville. I think Zach Wilson, you can basically book him a seat for the front row of Cats next fall. He's going to be on Broadway. He'll be in New York. As far as that third pick, that's where the discussion really comes in. And I think Mac Jones is going to end up going number 3. I think he is the pick that the 49ers want. I think he's what they're looking for. I think at the same time, though, it's a very lateral move. I think if you have Garoppolo on the books and then you move to Jones, you're not making a real big step up. So in my opinion, it may be the pick they go with, but it's not the right pick. I think Justin Fields is where you should go. I think he's a little bit more dynamic. He's going to open up the field a little bit more and get your offense really going. But that's where I think it's going to go.
You know what? I agree completely with you on the first 2. Trevor Lawrence is going to have that beautiful hair blowing in the wind on the beach. Zach Wilson. But you know what? I'm going to take a little shocker, and I'm going to call Trey Lance the QB from North Dakota. He missed most of last season due to COVID, only played 1 game. But the season before, he started 17 games and won them all. This dude has a rocket arm. He's fast. He led his team to an FCS championship in 2019. You know what? Mac Jones might be more NFL ready due to him playing more games, but I think Trey Lance is a peculiar pick, but also a gem to NFL prospects.
Could be.
All great picks. Try to win them over with your viral video.
All right, well, I've been waiting to showcase my favorite person in the world on this show. Bill Belichick, a man of little words and a lot of sass.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Good, Dan. How about you?
No complaints, no complaints.
That's good. We don't want to hear him anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Bill Belichick is not up for your complaints even on his birthday.
Okay. Well, for my viral video, a lot of us have met somebody that has our same name, unless you have a really unique name. Maybe you work with them. Maybe you've had a class with them. Well, Josh Swain, somewhere in the USA, decided there couldn't be too many Josh Swains. There had to be only one. So take a look at this. He started a group chat about a year ago, and he says, you have 1 year to prepare at precisely this random location that ends up in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. Well, that's when the Josh fight erupted 1 year later. So this past weekend, the crowned Supreme Josh was Little Josh right there. Little Josh is only 5 years old, and he was awarded the Supreme Josh. He is allowed to keep the name Josh, while everybody else has to now change their name, I'm assuming. But the cool full story there is that they raised $8,000 for charity, and it went to a nearby hospital where actually Little Josh received treatment.
You're trying to get this win. That kid's the cutest
Yeah, he
thing
took
ever. But you know what?
Caroline's route.
You know,
Bill Belichick's
I
cuter.
played the little kid card.
The little kid card. Audience, it's your turn to vote now. If you think that Sydney won her last face-off, cheer for. That is a loud crowd. Now, if you think that Dylan won his first face-off, let's hear it.
I had that coming.
Aw, sorry, Dylan. Maybe next semester. But Sydney's going to take her last ever face-off win. Proud of you, sweet girl. Stick around. Stay with us, because whenever we return, we're going to go over the Sooner mailbag, plus a few sports you should watch for. Get comfy on your couch this week, because men's golf is competing in the Big 12 Championship Monday through Wednesday. Sooner softball has a doubleheader with the Bears on Tuesday beginning at 4 in Waco. And OU baseball is traveling to Stillwater for a Bedlam series over the weekend. First pitch is Friday at 6, and lastly, track and field is taking on the Desert Heat Classic in Arizona on Saturday. Can't imagine how hot that one would be. Now we're going to take it to the Sooner mailbag to see what you guys wanted to hear from our analysts this week. If we can get that first question up there, Ashley Van de Velde wants to know, will the 2021 football game, or what is the football game you're most looking forward to in 2021?
Too easy for me. I look forward every year to beating down the University of Texas, and I can't wait for it because I know it's coming this season.
Well, see, I knew you were going to pander to the crowd, so I'm going to go ahead and do it too.
Yeah.
If you're a student and you want to go on a road game for one of these this season, definitely go to Tulane week 1. They're going to be in New Orleans for that game. It'll be a good time.
Man, I wish I were still going to OU. Maybe I'll come back. Okay, now let's get the second question up there because Sol Mayer wants to know, is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely. It's not always about stats, which he already has, but it's about impact. A 3-time Super Bowl champ. And let's not forget his finger grab to help win the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons. How is he not? He's the heart and soul of that team.
Okay, well, I'm a numbers guy, so stats do matter in my mind. And I remember seeing a stat whenever he retired. He's 156th in career leaders for receiving yards. So I don't think he's got the stats. And if you want to talk about highlight catches, why is David Tyree not in Hall of Fame? But
Okay, let's get the third question now. Because Grayson Blalock wants to know, where is this OU softball team and your best OU athletics team of all time? Top 10, 5, or 3?
Definitely top 3. This team's dominant.
I'd say top 3 as well. It's up there at the top.
Well, now me and Sydney Bollier are signing off from Sooner Sports Pad, but get excited because next semester you're going to see a whole lot of new faces, including Mr. Dylan Rivera. So if you liked what you heard, come back next semester. Everyone have a good night. Thank you so much for watching us all these Mondays.